goes, and don't stop talking about freedom. To get going, lots to be learning, lots to be knowing.
It's Dr. Clint Dickason with Just the Volume, coming to you from Castle Rock, Colorado. Dr. Clint Dickason, I'm a chiropractor in Castle Rock, Colorado. We're going to be talking about Adjust the Volume. We're going to turn up the noise on health today. We know that today's a great time to be talking about our health. Obviously, as everyone knows, as I would say, last couple of years have done a great job of pulling the curtain and showing us there's a man behind the curtain for the American healthcare system. And majority of us in America just kind of went, pull that back and let's look the other way and not talk about what's going on. And let's talk about it. Let's get to the bottom of this because we've got to take ownership of our own health. I think it's very apparent that there's not people here waiting for us, for people to help us out. It's going to be up to you. I am a chiropractor by education, by profession, and by training, which has led me into having a great relationship with personal health and a great desire for personal nutrition, exercise, meditation, and to have well-rounded, holistic health, of having all aspects of health together. We're going to talk about all of that on the show. We're going to bring in some nutrition. Whole food nutrition has been the king of nutrition for the past couple centuries. We're still in nutrition world. We have the greatest fads we've ever seen. We've never had a time in the history of nutrition that veganism can live in one conversation. It can have data and research to support it. And then on the exact same conversation, we're having the carnivore diet, which is the exact polar opposite. Then they're both totally live, thriving, and doing well. It's a crazy time when you're studying diet and seeing what fads are going on. Things have just gotten nuts and insane in diet, and we need to just get back to basics and get people healthy again. Start putting food, real food, in people's bodies, and start watching them to recover their health and start to get healthier. We're also going to talk about exercise. I've got some great hacks for exercise. I can get you exercising in 10 and 20 minutes a day, getting fantastic results. We know how to now hack the body with exercise and getting 25 times increase in natural human growth hormone production, a 10-time increase in alkaline phosphatase, which is the marker we look for in blood to show us osteoporosis and that the body's laying down new bone. We know also that we can increase our thyroid hormones. We know that we can increase the ability of our body to repair itself through the proper means of exercise. We're going to be going through that on this show because that's something we need to be doing for self-help. Yes, I'm a chiropractor. We'll be talking about chiropractic and adjustments and what all that can do. Particularly, we'll be talking about upper cervical chiropractic, and we'll have to have a lower back component because lower back pain is the most common complaint worldwide. There's some particular techniques in chiropractic that we'll dive into and pick apart that you should be, if you have particular conditions, you should be using those. So we'll definitely be getting into just chiropractic and getting into some real truth on chiropractic. But it's only one aspect of it. You have to have the other stuff. You got to have the diet, you got to have the nutrition, and you got to have then the mental health upstairs. It goes with all of it. And if you can't bring all this together, now you can't have health. And it's very interesting because to be healthy is not complicated. It is hard to be disciplined on your health. That is for sure. The world has made it more convenient than ever for you to eat garbage, act like garbage, think like garbage, and be totally accepted in society. It's the oddest thing in the world right now. It's super convenient for you to destroy your health overnight, but it is not hard to be healthy. It is very hard to be sick and to be diseased. If you don't believe me, ask a friend or family member that's going through a tough time. I just had a patient that's elderly. She's in her late 60s, thought she was healthy. She then fell and broke her leg. She broke a particular bone in her leg. And now through the surgery to fix the fracture, and trying to recover, she's realizing she was not as healthy as she thought she was. Now, I think she's going to come out of this great, but it would have been a lot better to be a little healthier going into this tragedy at this age and having a little more muscle mass and a little more health reserves to be able to tap into. I'm going to teach you how to do that. It's not that hard. You do have to be disciplined. There's simple stuff that you can start doing today. We all know that we need to make better choices. So we're going to be going over that on this show, adjust the volume, and then we're going to be getting into some other fun stuff. Like I've got some guests we're going to bring on, learning how to do some urban farming, have a little farm in your basement so you can grow your own food. You don't need to have a grocery store. We're going to get into doing some more some survival stuff so that you can be out in the field and actually take care of yourself if you need to. If you were given the basic necessities, would you survive? Would you live? Well, we're going to teach you some very simple stuff that I think is great, because now you can go to nature, feel comfortable and confident with being able to do some really cool hikes, do some cool stuff, and you can very easily feel comfortable with taking care of yourself if something would happen. All right. So with chiropractic. So chiropractic was started in 1895. Was discovered by D.D. Palmer. He openly admits he was not the first person to lay hands on somebody's back, to push on their back in the history of the world, but he was the first person to do that with the intention of getting that person well, for them to express better life. And his intention was to re-rack the vertebrae so that the vertebrae could be in alignment, taking the tension off of the spinal cord and the spinal nerves so that he could increase or decrease the tone of the body and get the body to heal. That happened in 1895. He stumbled into that with his first patient ever, Harvey Lillard, who happened to be deaf. He was deaf and then regained his hearing after a couple adjustments. And then the second patient ever had heart disease and got his heart disease to go away. So chiropractic was never designed for neck pain, back pain, or headaches. That's just what we're known for today in the year 2022. Now, chiropractic has grown and developed tremendously over the last 125 years to where now we have over 600 different techniques in chiropractic. As a chiropractor myself, I focus on the upper cervical area, and then I focus on the pelvis or the sacrum. We want to make sure those two areas, the very top and the very bottom, are in alignment so that the spine will work. That also seems to be the area of the spine that houses what we call your parasympathetic nervous system. Your parasympathetic nervous system lies underneath your autonomic nervous system, taking care of all the automatic functions of the human body. So if you want your body to automatically function better, yes, the automatic things that happen in your life, sleeping, digestion, rest, elimination, hormone production, all of those automatic functions are controlled and regulated by your spinal cord, which is where your autonomic nervous system lies. Those are systems. Say like, how do you regulate your heart? Well, you do that through your upper cervical area, here at the C1, C2 vertebrae, and then you do that here at the top of your upper back around the T1 to T4 vertebrae. Those are actions, those are features or functions of the human body that you would associate more with brain function, and they actually come from the spinal cord. So the spinal cord, in my opinion, does not get the credit that it deserves in the healthcare world outside of chiropractors. And then even then, chiropractors don't talk about it. You know, having the tension off of that spinal cord so that it can freely transmit messages from the nuclei within the spinal cord, and then also messages from the brain down to the body is huge. And that tension will happen most commonly around the C1, C2 vertebrae, because the C1 vertebrae is basically a hole that lines up with the base of your skull, and then your spinal cord travels through the middle. And with your spinal cord traveling through the middle, there are little ligaments that come off to the side. Those are called dentate ligaments. They allow that spinal cord to free float in the middle. And if I can hold my hands up here as if they were the the spinal canal, and if they were to shift off to the side, it is going to alter that spinal cord. If it shifts like this, we're going to have massive tension on these ligaments over here, and they're going to actually pull the spinal cord to the side and create a lot of health issues. Now, the only way to get that corrected is to get an upper cervical adjustment. Does it have to be an upper cervical specific adjustment? No, it doesn't. It just happens a lot smoother and a lot cleaner if you get to an upper cervical chiropractor that has studied one of the upper cervical techniques and can get that corrected a lot easier. And then now you can, that once that spinal cord is starting to hang the way it's supposed to and it's starting to free flow, you can start to get some beautiful things that happen. One of the biggest things I'll see with my patients is their sleep gets better almost instantly. The first night after the first adjustment, they'll start to sleep better, and we'll start to notice that they're starting to sleep better, which tells me their body's starting to function better and they're starting to heal, which is huge. Now, if we can start to give the body a little more stimulation from regular chiropractic adjustments, and then start giving it better raw nutrients through their diets, and then maybe give it a little stimulation, a little bit of stress. Let's put a little bit of stress on the human body so that it can have something to respond to, because it wants to take the path of least resistance. If we give a little bit of stress with exercise, the human body can do some beautiful things. We also know that being able to work with how your body is designed is really how true health is expressed. And the majority of us are given this ability to have health at birth, and we take it for granted until we start to lose it. And the problem is, once we start to lose it, we try to do with our health what we do with everything else is we look to go and buy that. And you can't go and buy more health. You have to build it. The only way that you can get healthy is start to build that health back up. Chiropractic adjustments will start to help restore that, because now the brain and the body are allowed to talk. Once the brain and the body are allowed to talk, now all of a sudden we're starting to get that feedback on what's happening, and that self-healing, self-regulating mechanism that you were already born with start to kick in again. If you were to feed it the regular raw nutrients that it needs, the proper vitamins, minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, you're giving it everything it needs, all of a sudden you're going to start to see the human body go, well, thank you, because I needed all of this stuff to make more tissues, make more hormones, to make more neurotransmitters. I needed that, and now all of a sudden it's allowed to do that. Then if you stress the body with doing a little bit of exercise, taking a fantastic way to think about exercise is take the muscle to the point it thinks it's going to die, and it has to hormonally respond, and then you back off and let it heal. And then if you can preserve the joints, so like you got my arm here, if you can preserve the elbow and the shoulder and train the bicep, now all of a sudden it's going to hormonally change the body, and you're going to preserve the shoulder and the elbow to last and function for the next 100 years, which would be smart and fantastic. Unfortunately, majority of us get into exercise through means of sports as kids, and we kind of get sideways with our relationship on sports, which we'll get into that and get how our relationship got sideways with exercise by learning sports. So, but if we go back to chiropractic, which is the premise of this show, because that's where it all got started for me. Being a chiropractor really took off for me when I was in my early 20s. I had the opportunity to play college sports. I got to play 4 years of college football, 2 years of college wrestling. And after my fourth year of college football, that November, I decided I was going to stop working out. From middle school until age would have been 21, I had never stopped working out. Just constantly working out, because I was always playing sports and always doing something. And I just wanted some time that I did not work out. So my senior year of college, football's over in November. Played the last couple of games, decided to not work out, take it easy. And my body started to get soft quickly. I lost a lot of muscle mass that I had. Lost a lot of strength. Well, about 6 months later, I went to roll out of bed one day, and I couldn't stand up straight because my lower back hurt so bad. That started what would become my chiropractic journey. That was a very interesting time because I went to a chiropractor. At that time, I'd been to chiropractors earlier in life due to my dad went to chiropractors, and if you had back pain, you went to a chiropractor. Well, I went to this chiropractor when I was 21, and the guy told me I had a back of a 70-year-old, which I thought he was just trying to scare me into giving a whole bunch of money that I didn't have. So I definitely knew I wasn't going to see him. Looking back on it, I think he was a good chiropractor. He just could have approached me as a young 20 something male a lot differently and got better results. But I said no, thank you, because I thought he wanted my money and not my health. And I ended up using my health insurance I had through my dad. Ended up with another chiropractor that didn't really like him either. In the meanwhile, I'm getting adjusted, and I'm getting better. My back pain's getting better. I can now stand up straight. I'm starting to feel better. Getting back to where I feel like I can start to work out again. So I get a couple chiropractors down the road, and finally I ended up running into the chiropractor that eventually ended up convincing me to go to chiropractic school. And he had said to me on our first visit, "Why are you bouncing around so many different chiropractors?" And I said, "Well, I don't really need a doctor. I just need a little bit of help right now." And so, what's funny is you don't need the real thing is it's not that you don't need a doctor. You need a doctor that thinks like you. Well, I'd already had a degree in exercise science from my undergrad. I was big in exercise. I tried to watch what I eat. Wasn't as good as I am now, but at least was conscious of it and trying to get some results with my body. And so he convinced me. He did a really good thing of putting my X-rays up, and then putting up normal, and the whole like one of these doesn't look like the other. And it was very apparent to me that I did not look like I should by 21, 22 years of age. So I started getting adjusted by him on a regular basis. I got back into the gym per his guidance. I'm weight training again. I did really clean up my diet then. I was getting ridiculous results. And I remember I'm getting such great results in the gym. I went to him one day and I was like, what the heck are you doing to me? And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Man, I'm getting better results in the gym by getting adjusted twice, maybe 3 times a week, depending on how the week worked out. And I'm eating food. I'm getting better results with that than all of the supplements that I took when I was playing college football." And some of that stuff, I mean, I was in college football during the summer of Slam when Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa were chasing the home run record. And man, Androstine was just regular candy over the shelf, sold over the counter, and everybody was taking everything under the sun to get a competitive edge. And unfortunately, as I had teammates, but man, they would have loved to take me out so they could have had a starting spot. Just easily, they were not that committed to my friendship. They're more committed to their success on the field. So everyone was very competitive. We took a lot of supplements. We lifted very hard and very heavy and got very strong. And I was getting better results by getting adjusted than all of that. And I was like, what the heck, man? My mind is blown that's even possible. So as I'm starting to get all these great results, I remember one big thing that he did for me. I went in there one day and I wasn't having any complaints, no problems. And he said to me, he adjusted me, and I instantaneously felt better. And I said to him, I said, "No, I didn't even hurt when I came in, but I feel better now that you've adjusted me." I was like, "What the heck is that?" And he gave me a book to read about chiropractic. It was a short book. He knew me. I'm a young 20-something male. And I read the book, and it talked about how chiropractic is based off the body being self-healing, self-regulating, which I already thought it was because I didn't think I needed a doctor. I just didn't realize that, there's a master system. There's a hierarchy that is regulated by the central nervous system. And if that central nervous system has this extra tension, what I was just talking about there, that tension from that upper cervical area being off, now it's not allowed to express that self-healing, self-regulating ability like it really truly wants. you've got to get that corrected. There's nothing else you can do besides a chiropractic adjustment to get that corrected. And yes, I am biased because I'm a chiropractor, but there's no other profession that's even looking at this. So that's 100% truth as well. So he gave me the book. I read the book. Said, "Man, that's awesome." He looks at me. He goes, "You should become a chiropractor." I said, "Well, I'm not real for sure." He turned me on to Palmer School of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa, where chiropractic got started in 1895. We just shared that story about D.D. Palmer adjusting Harvey Lillard, and then um, checked it out and said, I could do this. I loved working with my hands. I was never afraid of hard work. And looking at the requirements for schools, like, man, I've got majority of the prereqs that I need. It sounds like fun. I could do this. I followed him around for a day or two in his office, and I was like, I could totally. This could be what I do for the rest of my life. And then he said to me, "Well, you're going to play rugby while you're there." I was like, "I don't know about that, man. Those guys are crazy." He said, "Oh, trust me, you're going to love it. You'll play." And he was right. I did play. Played all 3.5 years I was there. Ended up becoming the president of the rugby team while I was there at Palmer. And it was actually fantastic because being a part of the rugby team allowed me to see more injuries than what I would see, and also be able to take care of those guys. Because not only was I playing with my teammates, who was also my buddies in school, because we're all chiropractors. This is a school that the only way you go to the school is if you're going to become a chiropractor. So we're all chiropractors and we're playing rugby together. So we're adjusting each other and we're injuring each other. It's like instant job security. So it was great. I got to see, ankle sprains, strains, knee injuries, shoulder injuries, elbow injuries, sternoclavicular dislocations, all kinds of stuff that happen just because rugby is a hard, brutal sport. And you got to see how you took care of all that stuff naturally. Also got to see what the limits were and when someone's got to go have surgery and or get drugs. There is limits to what the human body can do. So that started my journey down the road of chiropractic. And then while I was at chiropractic school, I got turned on to upper cervical chiropractic, which is how B.J. Palmer and D.D. Palmer really got started, was adjusting the top part of the spine to take that tension off the spinal cord that we were talking about earlier. That's where you have to really evaluate that area on the patient. I don't care what their symptoms are. You could have lower back pain. The neck pain and the headaches are the obvious ones to look at the neck. But if they got lower back pain, I can adjust their neck and get their lower back better pretty efficiently, pretty effectively, if you know what you're doing, which is pretty awesome. It's just that the majority of people haven't went and studied the upper cervical area like they should, and go get some training in it and ideally get certified so you know what the heck you're doing when difficult cases walk in the office, because they're walking in the office every single week, which is crazy because you don't think that stuff should happen in your small town, but man, it does. It is insane. So that was my chiropractic story on how I got into this and how the whole journey got started. And since then, I've been in Castle Rock in my private practice, coming up on 16 years, which is just crazy to think. But we've been in Castle Rock for 15 years, had a very thriving, successful practice, helping all kinds of cases, helping all kinds of patients from newborns to people in their 90s, people that have been in car accidents, people that come in and just go, I just want to help feel better. I just want to be healthier. Just saw a guy today, he's got no pain or problems, but he just wants to get bigger and train harder in the gym. So he's getting adjusted, and the adjustments are definitely facilitating what he wants to have happen, which is fantastic. And he even openly admitted he realizes there's no magic pill. He's got to put the work in. And part of putting the work in is using the chiropractic adjustments to help his body recover and to heal, which is amazing that he's been able to grasp that concept. So we've been doing that for 15 years, trying to help people. And we're going to use this show, Adjust the Volume, to talk about health, talk about real health, and talk about what we can do to improve our health, and use this as a platform to get more information out there. So we'll be diving into other aspects. We'll have some special guests on, talking about different things, some experts in BFR training. We'll have some experts in nutrition. We're going to have some experts in numerous areas so that we can make sure we're touching base on all of those. So people realize that, it's not, for me, it's not just chiropractic, but it's all encompassing. It's all this stuff that you bring together to create a healthy you. And there's no greater time in the history of the world than now to get your health together and get in order. Because I'll tell you right now, there's nobody here to help you except for you. You got to become your own best advocate. You've got to step up to the plate and know how to create health, and know that you've got to speak up for yourself. Unfortunately, the doctors, I think, get into this, even with chiropractors, get into it with great intentions, and then they get caught up in the system, and that system is not set up for humans to be healthy. The system is set up for business, and the business is getting you on some sort of program of having medication, surgeries, or something that allows you to use their services just enough, but not too much to where you're becoming a financial burden. They'd really like you right there in the middle. And that's where, when you look statistically, the average American are taking a lot of medications. The average elderly Americans are taking almost a dozen medications a day. That is insane. That's insanity. There's no doctor in the world that would agree with the statement that taking more meds equals better health. Every single person on this planet knows less medications equals better health. Now, there are life-saving medications. If you're a type 1 diabetic, insulin will save your life and make your life easier. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the misuse of all the stuff that we have that's going on, which is the opioid crisis is over. They're done. We've cleaned that up. Now it's just a matter of getting it, the power into the people's hands, and start realizing, like, hey, there's other things you can do if you're in chronic pain or if you're in severe pain, because the doctors they've just lost their ability to prescribe opioids for some reason. The judge that sentenced the opioid family said that their family and their descendants can no longer be involved in healthcare, pharmaceuticals, or anything ever again, because the oxy crisis was so horrible, and this family totally perpetuated it in an effort to make more money. Their bill, the fine from the court, is somewhere around $10 billion. They haven't decided on just yet, from what I know, but it's ridiculous. It's a staggering amount of money that they're going to pay, and they don't care because they've made 100 to 1,000 times that by building this business through healthcare, which is not healthcare, it's sick care. So we're going to get into that more down the road. But this is the first show with Adjust the Volume, Dr. Clint Dickason, Castle Rock, Colorado. I appreciate you tuning in through K-Heat Radio and listening to us. We're also going to be starting some blogs and start getting this information out through other avenues. Have a great day.
Keep walking, keep on your toes and don't stop.